All right, everyone. So I have a treat for you today. I'm going to be doing a recreation of King Aegon from House of the Dragon Season 2. And a number of you said that that's the hair tutorial you want to see. So this is what we consider a big monster job, okay? This is a huge job. So what I'm doing is I'm applying lightener. This is professional lightener. And I'm just applying it off the scalp slightly by about a half an inch, just because the heat of the scalp is going to cause the lightener to actually lighten quicker and process quicker. So that's why a lot of times if you apply it right on your scalp and you're like, why are my roots or my scalp area so much lighter and brighter than the rest? Well, it's because the heat of the scalp is going to process it much quicker than the rest. So you have to apply it a little bit off the scalp first and then go back in and apply it to the scalp, or what we call a virgin application as a professional. So now I'm using a lightener that basically has cool tones in it, so it helps prevent any sort of brassiness. And this is a whole other topic and video. If you're going from darker to lighter, you really got to be patient. You really have to make sure you're using the right product. You have to make sure you're going to lighten it to where it's light enough. And then the application is super important. I'm going in and really, really thoroughly, heavily applying the lightener. You can see I'm going with my hand, making sure it's fully saturated because you don't want to miss any spots. So here it is, the finished application. Now I'm going to let it sit for a while. And then what I did is I rinsed that off, and now I put a toner on it with kind of a violet base, and that's going to help neutralize any sort of yellow tones. So wash it out. Now it's time to comb it. Now this head became an absolute rat's nest tangle fry job, okay? Yeah, definitely, if you're not careful, you can absolutely fry the hair. So I'm ripping through this thing. I wouldn't treat a human like this, but this is a mannequin. And I use my 25 spray, which is an amazing spray to help get rid of tangles. And now we're doing the haircut. So what I'm doing is establishing the base first, aka the length, which is super important. You want to make sure you have, close enough length. And I try to get this as accurate as possible based off of his character in the series. So this works ideal if you have naturally wavy hair to begin with, then you're good to go. This mannequin has fairly thick hair, and the character, he has a little bit, I would say, finer hair. And what I'm doing now is I'm creating the base shape. So it's definitely a little bit shorter in the front, and it goes to longer towards the back with some layers. Establishing this length and this guide is really, really important because this makes the entire haircut. The next part of this is, working towards the front. I like to go from the back to the front depending on the mood I'm in and depending on what kind of shape I'm doing. But this is kind of like your standard layered haircut, to be honest with you. And keep in mind that when you are creating waves in the hair, or the hair is naturally wavy, it is going to shrink up a bit. So just be careful you don't cut it too short. All right, now we're doing the layers. Layering is essential for a haircut like this. And the way I do this is I create my guide first, and then I'm going to be cutting everything to that one point. Now, I normally don't dip my arm down like that, but I'm just doing that for the camera so you can see it. But you want to keep everything pretty much extended, so you're getting consistent sections and consistent cutting. So I'm combing everything up to that one point, and you can see I'm cutting the hair. Now we're doing the other side, same kind of motion, take a horizontal section right across. Now I'm blending that horizontal section, the top back of the head, and I'm cutting vertically now. That's how I connect layers. I start off cutting horizontally, then I cut the hair vertically. And to me, that makes a pretty seamless blend without creating any sort of steps. If you ever go home from getting a haircut and you see there's steps or chunks in your hair or whatever, it's because it wasn't layered properly. That's simple. So now I'm just going to be removing this weight, and layering ideally is simply a technique that's designed to remove weight. And you can see all that hair that's coming off. If I don't cut that, the hair is not going to have enough movement. The hair won't kind of shrink up or create any sort of layered texture. And the hair is just going to be very, very heavy, and it's not going to do what I want. So having layers in the hair really is essential. It's a must-know technique for any professional. And if you feel like your hair is heavy, then you should ask for layers. Now, I can't control, obviously, how someone else cuts hair. I've heard a lot of horror stories. It's not your fault or my fault that a professional does not know how to layer hair properly. You need to find someone who knows how to layer hair, so that's really on you, okay? If they can't do it, then it's time to find somebody else. This is a hair salon job. This is a, 3-hour job, probably. It's going to be very, very costly, so, if you are looking to wear your hair like this, just keep in mind that it's a very unique look, and it's a big job, okay? It's something that requires a lot of skill and patience. So, here we go, layering the back, removing all the weight, and just making sure that everything is really, really balanced. I've noticed that being thorough with cutting hair is really essential simply because if you skimp out on anything, it's just not going to look right. Obviously you can't use clippers or something like this. You can't rush this. Do not go into a barber shop or a hair salon that, they take walk-ins and try to do this in 15 minutes. No, you need to make an appointment with an experienced colorist. Now, keep in mind, look how beautiful that color is. A really, really, really nice kind of cool tone blonde. That is a, job in itself. And I've learned that from years and years and years of not only teaching hair coloring, but just doing it myself. So the hair color is the first phase, and then the haircut is the second phase. And I always start to, I work in the back first. I make sure that everything is balanced. You can see there's a lot of hair coming off just because all those hairs need to be removed. If it's not removed and not cut, the hair is going to be super, super heavy. And his hairstyle has a lot of freedom to it. This mannequin actually has thicker hair. So, that's just because of the mannequin, the way it's stitched, the amount of hair. The amount of combing I did and detangling removed a lot of hair, okay? A lot of hair came off that head into the brush just because it was so tangled and knotted from the bleaching. So what I'm doing now is I'm connecting the top into the back. This is where I'm continuing that vertical sectioning because to me, once again, that's the best way to blend for this. And once I have that vertical connection following the head shape, now I can move forward, leave the past behind, and I can cut horizontally. So I'm cutting straight across. And I'm literally following the typical pattern of haircuts that I do, where it's the top, the corners, and the sides. So right now we're in the top. Think of it as like the mohawk section. Then I'm pulling it straight up from the head. And because of how we cut it, there's not going to be a whole lot coming off. We're just looking for balance. Now I'm going to cut the corners. The corners are where the head rounds off. And you're going to see, there I am, pulling it, just following the way the hair grows from the head. Nothing crazy. I'm not taking 19 different sections. I'm just being very efficient with my time and trying to get through this. And I'm just following the pattern of cutting where the hair grows out from the head. This is the corner. And this is more of a rounded technique, which to me will not only add, fullness to an extent, it also will grow out the best way. If you get your hair cut in a different shape, like triangular or square or something different, it's going to grow out a bit more awkward and it's not going to look as good, in my opinion. So I always like to follow the natural hair pattern, the way the hair grows out from the head. And, now obviously, if there's a reason why you have to cut it more square, more triangular, whatever, then so be it. Now, what we're doing is working onto the sides. So you can see, went from the top, the corners, and the sides. I'm cutting all that hair. Just make sure you do not cut the bottom length. See that hair just dropped out? That's the length. You don't want to touch that. You don't want to disrupt the length because then it'll look very stringy. You'll have holes in the hair, and that could be a reason why your hair may be acting weird on the bottom of your hair. Is because the person ended up cutting the length and creating a hole, which is something that's not good for the haircut or for the shape. It's going to leave it very, very, very unbalanced. And let me know in the comments below if you've had a haircut to where the professional actually didn't cut it right and they did cut the base and ended up creating holes. It's not good. So now, once again, I'm just checking and I'm going on the other side. Now notice how I stayed in the same body position. I'm not doing any sort of like weird acrobatics or, I'm not like throwing my arm way over. I'm really just standing in the same position as I was. I just move the mannequin head around, and this is what you want to do. I see so many professionals just throwing that arm over when they want to cut on the other side, put themselves in a weird position, and it's just not good for the back. Now, same thing on this side. The top, the corners, and the sides. We're now working into the sides. You can see all that hair I'm cutting. That's removing all of that weight. That is what's going to allow the hair to be able to move freely. It's going to enhance the waves, enhance the curls. Again, this is naturally pin straight hair. There's no waves, no curls whatsoever to this. But because of the way I'm cutting it and the products and technique, I'm able to achieve wavy hair. Here's my favorite part of the haircut is where I'm go right down the middle, create a mohawk section, and I'm going to cut vertically right down the middle. And what that does is it just blends and connects everything together. If you are doing this and you notice that you have like a lot of inconsistencies, you've got tons of hair that's a lot longer, that means that something went wrong while you were cutting the haircut, and this can help really, really clean things up and balance it out. As I've gotten better and perfected the hair cutting over the years, everything usually 99.7% of times is usually spot on. And you can see here there's not really much, if anything, to cut. I'm skimming any little parts, and if there are pieces, then that's totally cool. This is what this technique is for. It's to blend and connect everything together. Very, very useful technique. Now, if you are a professional watching this, then I would suggest starting to do this. If you're a client watching this, if your stylist is doing this, then that means they're being very, very thorough. Don't be freaked out. It means that they're just checking everything. So what I'm doing is I'm combing everything straight towards that middle part just to balance it. All right, look at that. That color is insane. Now I'm using Tidal Wave, which is a must. You have to use Tidal Wave, which is available on my store, shop.TheSalonGuy.com. It's going to give you some volume. It's going to give you some texture. It's going to help kind of defrizz the hair. Then I'm using my crafted blow dry cream, which is great for a light hold, control, and slight volume if you're looking for that. This is more for controlling the hair and giving me a light, manageable hold. It's a great product, a very luxurious product, and I'm coming in from underneath and making sure that I'm working the product in. Now, I'm attaching my diffuser. This is my blow dryer. Once again, it's available on my website. Thanks to all of you purchasing it. I've made some upgrades. So this is the Ionic version, so I've upgraded this to have the Ionic technology. It comes with the magnetic diffuser. Now you see, I'm barely using my hands. I'm letting the hair drop into the diffuser, and I'm just lightly touching it. The more you touch and mess with wavy hair, curly hair, stuff like this, it's going to be an absolute frizz ball. You do not want to mess with it. Let the diffuser and the blow dryer do all the work. Do not be afraid of the heat. Don't get freaked out. Your head's not going to fall off. Everything's fine, okay? If you use the heat properly and the tool properly, you'll be in good shape, just like what I'm doing. So making sure I'm being very thorough, going in there, and look at how the hair is drying. It's looking phenomenal. It's got that nice texture. I mean, this is almost like identical to his hair. Like I did say that this mannequin has a good amount of hair, so it's a bit thicker than the character. But I'm just putting some finishing touches on, and wait till you see this. So I'm going to go in with a little more Tidal Wave. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 7 spritzes. I'm not going super crazy with it. And this is just defining the hair, right? I like to do this and define it and then set it and forget it. All right, here we go for the grand big reveal. I'm so stoked for this. This was, again, a massive job. Look at this. How cool is that? That color came out stunning. The haircut's super cool. And I am extremely happy. And I really hope a lot of people watch this and leave some comments below. I hope you enjoyed this. Don't forget, shop.thesalonguy.com. Yes, it's over. Yes. Shop.thesalonguy.com. You can use the exclusive code YouTube20. That's YouTube20 for 20% off. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.